Hello, good morning, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for tuning in on another TBC Power Hour. This month, this is March 27th. We'll be talking about the TBC cutting plane workflows. I'm joined today by Ben Brookman. Hey, Ben, you want to say hello to everybody? Actually, here, let's start off by making sure everybody can hear me. If you can hear me or if you can't hear me, let me know. Send a question in on the GoToWebinar before we get too far into things. Let's make sure. Excellent. Okay, we got the thumbs up. We're good to go. So I am Matt McLean. I'm on the product management team for Trimble Business Center. I'm working with Joe Blecka. So if you have any complaints, please email joseph_blecka@trimble.com. If you have any good things to say, please send me an email, matt_mclean@trimble.com. And I'm joined today by Ben. Ben, if you want to introduce yourself, that'd be.
Hello, my name is Ben Brookman. I'm a survey crew chief and just passed my small UAS pilot exam. Today, I'm going to be going over some interior work planes with you. And maybe you've seen some things, maybe you haven't. Quick little background about myself. I've been in the surveying engineering field since 1997. I've always used Trimble equipment. And just over 2 years ago, BCZ was in the market for a new robotic total station. The guys at Precision Midwest introduced us to the SX10 scanner, along with the point cloud module of TBC. Once we saw the data they could collect in a short amount of time, we were sold. And then, quick information about our company. We're celebrating 60 years now. And we are a full service engineering firm providing architectural, civil, structural engineering, land surveying, construction inspection, material testing, with 3 locations in Galesburg, Illinois, Burlington, Iowa, and Bettendorf, Iowa. So, Matt, do you want to go back?
Back? Forward?
Oh, sorry.
All right. So thanks for the introduction, Ben. So as you can probably tell, Ben knows a thing or two about what he's talking about, which is always good to have. So today we'll be going through a little bit of an introduction. Ben has this really cool project. It's a little bit of a non-typical survey project, which is really interesting. We'll get into the software, a little bit of a demonstration of how the data was brought in, kind of cleaned up, processed, and more. And we'll finish off with some resources and next steps. So Ben, if you'd like to take it away, the mic first.
Okay. About 2 years ago, last year, I'm sorry, we were asked to provide services for a 1930s 4-wing stable. The client wanted to turn into a reception hall. It seems to be the going things these days for weddings, reunions, baby showers, and whatnot. So we knew it was going to involve structural engineering and architectural services. They asked if we could scan the project. We said, sure, it'd be more accurate scanning it than measuring everything by hand. So before we even left the office, let me show you here the project. The image on the left is the existing structure before any construction was started. The image on the right is, of course, the finished product. Sorry about the image quality on the left, it's a little grainy. This still gets the point across. Again, here's the before on the left. The image was actually taken from a station setup in the SX10 software in TBC. And the image on the right is a picture of a lovely couple who just got married, obviously, and they look to be having a good time. Here, during and after, here's the wall that faced the east, which looked out to a cornfield at the time. I'm sure it's still cornfield. Anywho, they wanted a lot of light to come in through these windows, so our architectural team went in there and showed them what it was going to look like with the windows. And again, the image on the right is what it currently looks like. And so with that, we'll go into TBC. Here we go. First thing we did, we wanted to figure out the best way practice to get in there. So we decided we're going to put this thing on state plane coordinates. We use the Trimble VRS network and established 9 control points around the perimeter. And then we ran control inside and did 13 control points inside. We knew we were going to get a lot of overlap information, but too much information on this is it's okay. Let me turn that point cloud back on. And real quick, let's just I'll zip around this real quick, and we'll get rid of a lot of the overlap information that's not really used. I call it trash, junk, and let's just get rid of it so you can see the actual control points and object of the goal. So I'm selecting the site that I want to take care of. I'm just going to call it site for now. And then I'll turn it off. It disappeared. It didn't erase. Now I'll just get rid of the trash that I do not need. We'll turn it off, turn our site back on. We'll come back into there. So there you can clearly see our control points on the outside. And then again, if I turn off the site, there's our control points on the inside. So if we go, just give you an idea of what we have here.
Hey Ben, I'll jump in here as well. If anybody has any questions on the GoToWebinar kind of tab, command pane widget thingamajig, you can ask a question, and we will we'll get to as many of the questions as we can while we're going through the webinar. We'll get to a bunch of them at the end as well. And if there's any that we don't get to today, we will contact you in the next few days with an answer for the more difficult questions. So feel free to jump in anytime. Oh, is this the station view?
Okay.
Nice.
This is station view, yes. As you can see, you can see all the station views that we have there. So if we go and just, let's just turn, that is not a station view. That's actually our tripod with our 360 prism in the middle. It's been scanned so many times. So yeah, you can see what we were working with. We were working with a lot of information as far as the rafters. The rafters were key on this one. The loft for structural was key. Basically, you can see the chains across the way that needed actual support besides just the chains. So with that, let's go. I will classify my regions. Let's get out of that view. To classify the regions, I timed it. It took 42 seconds. So that's not too bad. But let's jump ahead.
How many points do you have there?
It's over 100 million. I think last we checked was 108 million points.
Oh, we've got a question. With the SX10, what scan type did you use?
It was primary and full dome on the interior. The exterior, it was a polygon select with Trimble Access, which polygon select, if you're not familiar with the SX10, if there's only a certain object that you want to capture, then you can go through the software in the field and basically pick a box or an object, or pick a polygon around this object that you want to scan. Therefore, you don't get a ton of information that you don't need. You don't need a 360 scan if you're just looking, 45-degree angle to the northeast. There's no sense of having a full dome scan on that. That saved a lot of time by doing the outside with a polygon. But again, full dome inside. Did we overkill it? Maybe. But again, it's easier to have too much information than having to go back on site. That's going to cost money and time.
Cool. Yeah, great.
So I've classified my regions. Like I said, it took 42 seconds to classify the regions. I just went ahead and done it. You can see there's a lot of a lot of information that looks kind of scattered. So what I'll do is, previous what I did, like I did earlier, I'm going to just zip around. And we'll make this a little bit more workable here. So let's come around.
There's another question that I think I might be able to answer. How did you handle cleaning the noise between all the scans? But I think that's kind of what we're going to be getting into.
That's what we're going to get into. Yep, that's exactly what we're going to get into.
Nice. How much time did the fieldwork take?
Fieldwork originally, if anybody has stalked my LinkedIn page, the exterior, it was a couple hours, 3 hours, I believe. And then we went back the next day for the 13 setups. It was, I think the guy had 9 hours total, getting everything taken care of on the inside. It was a 1 day trip, well, 2 day trip, but 1 day for each thing.
Okay, cool.
So as you can see, I did half, and then I called it trash. So I'm on top of the visibility because I don't need it. And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. And this cleanup here, this is with every site. You're going to get overlap and a lot of stuff out of distance that you don't need. That this is just standard practice here before we even get into the fun stuff.
When you did the scan, what density did you use? Is it coarse, standard, fine?
Just the coarse.
Okay.
We could have went super fine, but I think that would give us way too much for what was probably needed.
All right, cool.
Typically we use fine for any high detail that we want on an object.
All right, and I guess that depends on how close the subject is from you. The closer it is, the less fine you have to be.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So I'm going to add this to the trash, and we'll get rid of it.
When you classified the regions, did you use all the regions that TBC can do? Default, buildings, ground?
I only selected the building and the ground, only because I knew there was no high lines out there, no trees. So I just I didn't want it using that process time for anything else that I knew that wasn't there. So I kind of took advantage of the situation on that.
All right, cool.
Okay. So here you can see there's the actual barn itself, and it's classified to the building and some roof fence there that didn't get classified, but that's not a problem.
Yeah.
Again, you can see
the points that don't get classified, they'll get put in the default category. So I think so that's kind of where the noise gets put, things that aren't very easily recognized as building or ground or one of the other areas. So I wanted to make note of that as well. There have been a couple different questions about that.
Gotcha. Okay. So with this here, I went ahead previously. Let me back up the train here. When the guys left before our scanner left the office, we spoke about how we want to approach this. So as you can see, this all looks interior. Let me turn my, if I go back to region color and go true color, that's interior scanning. That's not, you don't see the exterior here. I had the guy do 2 separate job files in the collector, one as the exterior and then another job as the interior. Since we're on state plane coordinates, I could import the exterior into this one and have a totally different region. And I'll show you how that's important here. If I go import, I'm going to I've already exported out an LES file, point cloud file of the exterior roof and walls. So let's just bring that in.
When you traversed the control points outside of the building, did you use VRS or sorry, did you use VRS to set control or did you traverse it as well?
We used VRS and then, yeah, we used VRS on this one and then we traversed inside. We brought it inside.
Okay.
Oh, where'd that go? Okay. So there you can see the exterior roof on top of the interior roof. So that notice it shows it as unclassified. So if we go to properties, we can rename this. And just there's no scientific method to naming. You can name it whatever you want. So we'll just call it X roof. And if I turn it off, thing I don't want to do, I don't want to import my walls before changing the name of my group here, because then all of a sudden now you have unclassified, you have two things unclassified, and then you have to re-separate everything out. So it's a lot easier doing it this way. Then I can turn my exterior roof off, no problem. So again, I can come over here, bring in my walls. And then you can see the Tyvek sheeting on there. Again, it came in as unclassified. So what properties?
Ben, when you, sorry, where did the question go? Did you use any method to tighten up the registration, or when you brought it in from the SX10, was it already everything? All the point clouds all the scans were where they needed to be in relation to each other already?
Everything was already there. Since we used traditional survey methods as far as station setup, backsite, everything was already in place. So there was no time to do the registration. It wasn't needed.
Awesome.
I've gone through before other jobs I've done just under the instead of doing a station setup, I've done just a scan station and done 4 scans, and they put all on one top of one another, and I have gone through that way and done the registration in that way. But something like this, with so many things that are common, it's just best to do this thing with state plane coordinates and do it the right way.
Sounds good.
All right, so let's go in there and we'll see our little instruments there. Let's turn those off. So we have our existing roof and existing walls. There we go. And moving into the plane manager. First thing I want to do, I want to strike a line across my ridge of my barn. This could be, think outside the box. It doesn't have to be a barn. It could be a crown of a road if you want, whatever you want to use this cutting plane on. So I'm just going to go over here to line string. First thing I'm going to do is turn my existing roof on. And I'm just going to enter through. I just want to rotate, get somewhere in the close where I'm going to see this. So I'll pick somewhere in the middle. I'm going to zip down. Somewhere in there. Perfect. Like I said, it's not rocket science. And this is kind of like setting up the alignment per se by striking this line. So again, we're going to send it through. There we go. And come back down to this end. Perfect. Right, so now I have a couple lines. Let's orient north back there. And what I want to do is notice that the tip of that roof hangs over the edge of the face of the barn. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a measurement from the tip to the wall, and then I'm going to set subplanes to go every X amount of feet. Working with this, I know that those are 2 feet apart, but I'll just get a distance anyway. And tell you what, let's turn off the existing roof. I don't need that anymore. So we're coming from, measure distance. Roughly, I'm just going to pick there. I'm at horizontally 4.9 feet. So let's go back to the plane manager. We're going to do a new. I'm going to set this, since that's technically my north view, that's north, and I'm working north to south, I'm going in F north-south. From linear path, I'm picking that line. And my subplane, I'm going to generate every 2 feet. And my starting station, instead of 0, because 0 is technically out here, I'm going to try to put in 4.9. And that didn't work too well there, because you can see those red lines. Those red lines should be over the center of the rafter. So let's just, well, we can subtract that. Let's go 3 point, and we'll go 3 point. Worked fine in training, didn't it? All right, let's just close that real quick. Measure distance. And 6.7, let's try that one. No issues, no problems. That's a little better. And let's just, that's a little better, let's go 6.1. That's close enough for what I'm doing, and you'll see why here. So as you can see, those red lines fall on those rafters pretty decent. But notice, like I say, it's only going north-south. That's not a problem. So we get that set. Now I can go new, and I can go, we'll name this east-west, and same thing. We'll just come from here. And we're at 2.3, so start station 2.3. So let's go back, select our line. And you'll know if you don't have your line selected, because you won't see an end station. It'll be asking you for an end station. So the generate intervals, we're going to go every 2 feet again. You can see that all the red lines showed up. That's how it was supposed to work the first time. If you think about it, these red lines, if you imagine a loaf of bread, and you're slicing it, even thicknesses of each slice. That's the easiest way I could think of it. So we'll close that. Now I can go to actually my cutting plane. Let's close that and close that one. I'll stay in the east-west view for now. Wrong button. Okay. So there's our cutting plane. I necessarily don't like the stack view, so I'll just drag this over to the side there. And zoom in here. And here, if you notice, I'm on the east side, but over here it says plane north-south. So if I jump to east-west, so now it's lit up this way. I can zoom in. At the bottom here, there's your stations. So now, if you remember, we told it to start at 2.3. So when I hit that arrow, it's going to start at 2.3. Now, if I advance the arrow, we got a thickness of 4.3. So it's going every 2 feet. So you can see the cross section of the actual structure itself. We were only interested in the actual rafters on this situation. You know, we could go through there and, you know, really break down the walls and ground and really dissect this thing like a frog. So the first thing I'm gonna do, I don't like working in scan color myself, so I'm gonna go change my my true color. I'm gonna change that to region color, so it shows up blue. Again.
Okay, Ben. So all the scans you're with now were taken from the inside scans, correct?
You are correct. Yes.
Okay, so the rafters are like the slats running along the building. So there's like an interior roof, and then there's like a tin roof on the outside of the barn as well. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yep. And if I actually turn my existing roof on, you can see it show up there.
Okay, cool. That's a really good way to see it.
So for this here, since I'm going to be isolating stuff out and creating sub-regions or more point cloud regions, I'm going to turn that off. And then what I'll do now is we're just going to zip around here and basically take this rafter and split it out. So I'm just going to drag, and sometimes the default is rectangle. You know, change that down here at the bottom. You'll see this little rectangle select. Typically that's default. It took me a lot of times to figure out how to get back to polygon. I believe there's even a shortcut key. But like I said, I have it clicking icons now instead of trying to remember keys.
Yeah.
All right.
So sectioning off. So you're now kind of going through and selecting the interior beams or like the supporting beams. This is for the architect, right? Is that correct?
Yes. The structural engineer on this one.
Okay.
Because he's got to work his magic. We just give him the possible information that he might need. Again, that might be too much information, but like I said, we'll give him too much information and let him get rid of it instead of having him come back and ask us for the information. So I'm just going to shoot over to this guy. And I'm going to hug this because I know, like on this one, I know that that's the bottom there of the ceiling itself. So I'm just going to zip through, and I can really, I can speed this thing up for this here. Because at the end, I'll show you what everything looked like at the end. Total cleanup time on this project here, we're looking at 8 hours. That's a lot of coffee. That's a lot of classical music to get lost. And it's just really, it is repetitive. But when it's all said and done and you're exporting point cloud files or whatever they need, it's pretty satisfying. You can look at it when you're done and you're like, oh wow, that's really cool. I can't believe I did that, or I can't believe I got to work on that project. So here it's thinking, and you can see, I'll show you here on the side view, that if you remember, this cutting plane thickness was a foot. And let it catch up here. Interesting. It went away. Well, let's bring it back. Oh, there I am. So you can see that it's selected and everything I totaled to, and then it's going a foot each direction of that center. So then if I go take it and let's go put it on a crate region, and this is from east-west. So I'm going to just call it east-west rafter. Then you're going to see it pop up over here on a new point cloud region. These are similar to layers or levels, depending on your CAD package that you're used to. And don't be afraid if you accidentally pick a point cloud that's wrong region, whatever, you're not going to hurt it. You can always go back and apply it to a different region. If you notice that it disappeared. So there we have our slice gone. Then I can come back here, go around. And there shouldn't be anything above here because this is all scanned inside.
Hey Ben, for the access line that the multi-slice cut, or the path that the multi-slice cutting plane follows, if the curve, or if the path was a curve, how are the planes oriented to that curve? Does that make sense?
I believe they're perpendicular to your line. So if you had a curve, and I think there's a video on the TBC YouTube channel.
There is.
You could specify the PC and the PT and stations through that curve.
Yep.
If that makes sense, if that helps.
If the planes are orthogonal to the path at the point where they cross it. That's right.
Right.
So I guess another one. How did you learn how to use the TBC scanning module? Did you
trial and error?
Trial and error. Okay. So you kind of just.
It was, yeah. I think Brandon over there at Precision Midwest, he got a few of my phone calls because, like I said, when he started this, when they brought it to us, I was a straight up Autodesk user and didn't understand TBC except to download our data collectors. So they kind of hung with me and showed me some things. And then, like I said, other thing was trial and error. Then I learned a lot this past November out there at Dimensions in Las Vegas. I think I took 13 classes in a short amount of time, and they were all around the point cloud information.
Cool. Nice.
So here, we're just going to name ceiling for east-west ceiling. I'm going to hit OK.
So if you were to try and learn it again, what would you recommend somebody else to do to learn the TBC scanning module?
Talk to your Trimble reps. Like for instance, that's where I met Joe. Was at Precision Midwest training seminar. It was, I think 30 of us in a classroom setting, and he went. He was very understanding, and he just went step by step on this is how you do it. This is how you're going to do this, this, and this, and this. And we went from point cloud information of a road to creating cross sections and deliverables in TBC, stuff that I had never seen before. But videos, YouTube would be tremendous, and like I said, the TBC groups really help.
Well, thanks. Kind of covering what I'm going to cover at the end of the presentation, or I guess giving some validity to what I'll cover at the end.
Sorry to jump ahead there.
You did a great job answering that question.
Right. The ceiling part went away, like I had planned. I'm going to turn the ground off here, and then I want to see inside there, so I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to make a west wall. Let's orient that the right way. So again, like I said, if you move stuff to a wrong region, it's okay, because I know I'm getting some roof information here that's I'm going to just turn off. You can really, like I said, you could go until your little heart desires on this, and and not hurt it, but get the right information that you need. So like I said, I'm just going to call this West Interior. And go in there, turn that off. And notice it creates a different color for different entities. Like that one was cyan versus blue. So then there's looking on the inside. Yeah, there's a little dozer, there's a little excavator in there. Again, let's go over here and we're just going to make that east. So let's just go back to rectangle. So I'm going to pick once.
Hey, Ben, in the cutting plane view, can you create line strings and create points?
I believe you can create points. I think lines I have not tried yet. One thing I was toying with, and I was going to try and focus on it for this PowerHour, but we decided to go interior. Was like if I'm scanning a road and I have a really good scan in those views, I wanted to be able to place points per my feature codes because I have my feature code library set. So I could go in there and pick my center, pick my flow line, pick my top of gutter and everything, and then process feature codes and then generate the line work that way. I was toying with that. Like I say, whenever we decided to go interior, then I kind of stopped looking at that part and just came back to focus on the interior. Does that help the answer? Or?
Yeah. So I guess the cutting plane view behaves just like the plan view or the 3D view. You can create points and line strings within that view.
Exactly. And again, if I was doing a road, I probably wouldn't have a foot thickness. Oh, look, that made magenta now for the east side. I would probably maybe go a half foot, but then if you want to clean up some noise like dust particles or whatever, then you could make your thickness every 10 feet, as long as it wasn't like a steep uphill or whatever. I mean, just use your discretion and work smart. So looking inside, back to the barn here, looking inside, you can see the loft. And yeah, that is a chain across the way there that needed to be corrected. It's not really, I guess, structurally safe, but it picked up so much detail that we just didn't need it all. And like I said, looking at when I got all this information, I was just like in the beginning overwhelmed. Like, how am I gonna take care of this? So I actually ended up writing down on a piece of paper, going old school, just how the steps, the process that I want to take as far as breaking everything down. Because you could go as far as since this is a 4-wing barn, you could go east side, north roof, northeast roof, southwest roof, and so on, and really just break everything down. I could go in there and I could take out all the windows if I wanted to, and put those on a separate thing, so they could, if they needed to put windows in there. But these were already new windows that were already installed before we even got there. So I could have done so many different ways. So if I go back to the plane, and you're always going to know where you're at because your rectangle here will be lit up. So when I move that, it updates it. And so then you could say, yeah, I was on rectangle, and then you go back to polygon. And give it a second to catch up. And it did take. So again, just zipping around. You could, with like, these are probably dust particles in here. So, I could go in there and really, isolate those and put those on trash. And like I say, when we're doing this, collecting information, we don't know exactly what software they're going to be using or how they're going to be handling it. Because it may not just be, our structural team or our architect team. We could be working for somebody else who doesn't have the scanner capabilities that they may want a model of it, and they hire you out to do it. So let's jump across. Yeah, time check, we're at 9:41, so I can do this. I'll show you the limit box if anybody's used the limit box. That's a handy tool to use as well on interior objects or even exterior objects for that matter.
When doing work for kind of other engineering firms or doing the data collection or contracting the data collection from them, I guess is the term. What kind of file format or I guess, are point clouds becoming a more common file format as like an ask from an architectural or structural engineering kind of person? Firm?
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of places, once you tell them that you can give them a scan file, they're like, yeah, send me an LAS file or E57, or for this instance, an RCP file for recap. With TBC now, it has the recap exporter in it, which is really nice. But all of our drafters have Recap Pro on their machine. So basically, if any alta we do or any job we do, we scan it just so we could take the field information and give it to the office guys. So they could technically go out in the field without having to step foot in the field. They see exactly what we see. So right here, again, I just separated our rafter east-west. I'm going to just add it to a region. East-west rafter. And if you happen to put it on a wrong region, just Control Z it, undo it, and then you could reselect it again. Or you could, like I say, you could just go back and turn that scan on or turn that region on and regroup it that way if you wanted to. Like I said, I know I'm going around pretty quick, but it's the same point, just getting across to let you know that there is detail into this information. So east west ceiling, and you could change the thickness. So like on that ceiling, if I wanted to, I go to the next station and say I want to go 3 feet. Let's not go 3 feet because each one's set up on 2 feet. So if we just go, let's go 2 feet each direction. Oop. Let's just separate out the ceiling first. You'll see when everything's selected on the left screen there, my 3D view, it'll now go to 2 foot wide versus 1 foot wide. First thing we did when we got this scanner, we were like, what can it do as far as interior? Because we weren't in the market for a scanner. We were in the market for a robotic total station first, but we thought, well, if we can start doing scan services, why not? So first thing we did, we scanned our office here in Burlington, Iowa, and it's 2 stories. And then downstairs basement is our inspection lab. So like I said, we basically had a 3-story scan of our office. So we're like, well, that's kind of cool. So then we start, well, I want to see inside the office. So basically I split it right down the middle and had a east side, west side of the office. And you actually see people at their desk working. Granted, they were moving, so they kind of got into the point cloud way. So, but here you can see the orange, that's what's selected on the right. That's what's over here on the right, on the left. So I went to 2 foot width, and you can see it went a foot each side of that cutting plane. Then I'll just add it, and you'll see it disappear.
Is this project on grid since you're using state plane, or did you localize it?
It's on grid.
It's on grid. Okay.
Here, let's see. Let's get. If you notice, if you see this trash, sunlight, dust here, we're gonna get rid of that because we were on the inside shooting through, and it shot through the glass. So we know that's just junk that's not needed. So here we're going to go to let's close that. Let's reopen that. And that was there. So I'm going to go limit box here. We're going to activate the limit box, and you see it kind of went away, but it didn't go anywhere. So we can actually move that thing to wherever we want. But for here, if I come on, go back. And let's bring this guy around, select here, get on that side of the wing. And now I'm able to just go in here and get rid of reflections. Again, I'm just going to add it to a region, and I'm going to add it to the trash.
What data format would be needed to upload the data into Revit for an engineer architect to start modeling?
I just gave them a LAS file on that.
Okay.
I'm personally not familiar with Revit. I actually have it on my machine, but I have not like sat there and messed around with it. I think E57 is a common cloud export, but I don't know as far as like, I know there's free viewers out there, free point cloud viewers. So if you had somebody that didn't have access to a Revit or to a recap, there are free LAS viewers out there.
Great. Cool.
And that's one thing I learned, the dimensions that was brought up in a class. So let's see, with 10 minutes left to go here, let's jump to the final. Everything broke out here.
All right. So I guess there have been quite a few questions about what was the actual deliverable? How did you export each scan region? What format did you deliver your project, or what format and what kind of file did you deliver? So I guess that's what we're getting into now. So we'll answer those questions here.
Yep. So here, this is everything broke down, exterior roof, everything. So if I turn off the ceiling, turn off the, I broke down lofts, dormers, vents, everything. So then we go, well, and really probably what you want to do is, there's the change on the inside. What you want to do is export each one of these point regions individually. So for instance, let's turn everything off. Granted, I don't want to do the default or the ground. I don't need the ground on this one. But it's still nice to have on my end. Trash, I'm not going to export. Trash ground, I'm not going to export. So if they want to see where the existing chains were, I can just window it, go back to home, export it. And I believe the only way you can export an RCP file is if you have recap on your machine with TBC. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's correct.
But I don't even think that I think you need the pro version for that. So here, yeah, I'm just going to export LES. I've already got it selected.
Hey, when you have your cursor in the data box for the selected, if you hit Control A on your keyboard, it'll select everything that's visible in the plan view that's applicable for that exporter.
Oh, duly noted.
Kind of a neat thing.
Yeah, perfect. So here, I'm going to name it. That's our job number. So I'm going to just name it chains.las. It'll default to where your project is stored, where you're working from. So hit save. I'm in US feet. Export. And it's going to go through there. It's going to export it. Go ahead.
A good thing to note is the RCP format. That's the Autodesk format that Civil 3D and CAD and kind of all of their family of products, that's the only format that they can import. But with Recap, you can import a last file, convert it to an RCP file, and then bring it into your other softwares. So if you export it straight from TBC as an RCP, it removes that step for the engineer of bringing it into Recap, converting it, and exporting it.
All right. So there's our, if I export this one, again, I'm just going to name it since it's east-west ceiling, east-west ceiling.las, export. One thing I will show you, these are going to be quite large. So you're not going to want to email these. You're going to want to put them on a cloud-based server once you get them all exported. I mean, just this point region here, I'm at 265, almost 266 meg. Your IT guy might get a little upset if you email that out. So, but with everything, I think I've covered everything. I'll show you what eventually they kicked out PDF.
Hey, sorry, before we jump into this, there's a question about scaling grid to ground and how that works with the point cloud with AS610 scans. Do you know how that works? Because I can explain that a little bit.
We have a guy here that specializes in that, so that's kind of his forte. So he takes care of all that.
Right. So with the AS610 and point clouds, it's scanned based off each individual scan station. So you can export your point cloud in grid or ground. So if you're in an area with a really high scale factor, so large distortion, if you're scanning a project, say a long roadway or a large bridge, something like that, you'll have, using a traditional laser scanner, you'll have a mismatch between your point cloud just because of the scale factor. But with the AS610, it will scale the scans from each scan state or from each setup, and then it will scale those setups between each other as TBC does already. So that way you won't have any mismatch due to grid versus ground in TBC with your AS610 scan data. And we do that with TZFs now as well. So that's kind of a confusing topic, and I can explain that in 30 seconds and save somebody a couple hours of trying to figure things out on their own.
Okay. So again, back to this. This was the PDF set that they put together for this, and showing the existing photo with all the information, roof information, and then proposed layout as far as the walls and stuff, interior, what was going to be what. And they had a mezzanine level where I believe that's over where the chains were, so they built the floor. And then, so here they kind of colored up our point cloud a little bit and created a solid object of it and made it look really cool. And they even took out part of the roof down the bottom right here. And proposed windows where those were going. And then there's the rafter information that they were using, they were going for. So like I say, overall, this was a good learning job. Maybe I do things a little different as far as like regions and classifications on my end, but yeah, I say it wouldn't matter enough to. Each project's different, so maybe what I'd do on the next job, I wouldn't do anything from this job. Who knows? So like I say, it just really depends. Every job's different. So, but with that, that kind of sums up everything I have. Back to you, Matt.
Oh, sorry. I was just kind of one other interesting question. Can we use the scanner to scan a human body?
It's funny you say that. If everybody wants to hang on a second.
I'm curious.
let me back up. This is not a dead body. If you notice here, I have a crime scene test.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
So actually, I think this is it. No, I don't want to say that. They actually have a forensic software for the SX10 that's different than TBC. But I was messing around. There's my kid. and so as you can see, I actually have. If you look around the edge, it doesn't match per se, and his feet are missing. He got tired of laying while I was doing a full dome scan, so I told him he could come back and redo it. So, but then, so yeah, there's the full dome room, and then if you go into the limit box, then we can drop. Hang on. Let's get that limit box set right. You can drop that down, and then yeah, you could show the whole scene. And we even had like crime card placards we made with Nerf guns.
That's cool.
So yeah, the only way you're going to learn is if you practice and figure out what you can do and what you can't do with this machine. So it was, like I say, I think this whole thing, it took like 12 minutes to do. So yeah, to answer your question, yeah, you can scan a body. That's a point cloud. Anything else?
I guess one other one. Could you draw line strings on the rafter? So going through and having each of your rafters sectioned out, would you be able to then go through and draw line strings on those if your client had requested line work for the rafters instead of the last files?
Yeah, you could. You could draw on top of that.
Okay. But it's just your client wanted to just get the last file and then they wanted to do their own modeling. So
yeah,
it's just...
because I don't think they knew when eventually. I don't in the end. I don't think in the beginning. I don't think they knew what they all wanted. So we just, like I said, we just gave them what we thought they they could need and use, and
Okay.
so they utilized it really well.
Okay, cool. So I think that's. Oh. One guy commented, it's a kind of a quite funny that you have a great example for that question. It's just ready to go.
Yeah, and that was just done like 2 weeks ago too.
Good timing there. Cool. No, so I think that's pretty much all the questions I was able to stay on top of them this time. Last time I co-hosted a webinar.
Oh, good.
But
I'd say hopefully somebody learned something.
yeah. So I guess then
Reach out and
there's a few more heavy questions, so we'll get back to you in the next couple days. And yeah, so I guess now we're on to the next steps. And is there anything else you want to talk about, Ben? We'll have another chance at the end to say thanks and wish everybody a nice work day. Actually, we're pretty much out of time now, so should hurry as well.
Okay. No, I think I'm pretty much done. So.
All right. So on the TBC side, as Ben attested earlier, it's learning can be fun, learning can be hard. So we like to have as many things out there to help people learn as possible. On the TBC webpage, it got a revamp. About a year ago. We have a geospatial webpage and a construction webpage. If you or your business identifies one of those things, please go to your appropriate page. That's where you'll see information most relevant to you. We have some customer success stories and testimonials. These are kind of not why we get out of bed in the morning, but it really makes getting out of the bed in the morning more fun to know that what we're doing is making a big difference for our customers. So if you have something cool, a cool story, something you'd like to share with us, we would love to hear it. And this is also where you can learn more about the technical aspects of TBC, the bulletins, white papers, so how TBC takes data, how it works with it, and how it processes it and visualizes it. All that information can be found in our white papers. Next slide, please. And we have a YouTube channel. Here we have many videos. I believe it's over 200. Don't quote me on that. It might be more. We've got our videos sorted out in workflow-based playlists. So, hey, I have a client that's interested in this tunneling survey, and I've never really done a tunneling survey before. What can TBC do for me for that? We've got a tunneling playlist that goes and shows kind of step 1 through 8, maybe, about kind of what TBC can do for tunneling. That's doing your point cloud, creating a mesh, reporting on that mesh, under break, over break, all that fun stuff. And we've got lots of other workflow-based playlists as well. We have one for cutting plane enhancements. Everything we talked about today, we've got some, well, not everything, most of what we talked about today, we've got some videos going through and detailing that, going into a little bit more detail about the menus and explaining things that maybe you missed or weren't sure about or have a question still. So definitely check that out. It's YouTube TBC survey. Next slide, please. And we have the historic power hours. Well, historic, 2.5 years old. It's late history at this point, really. But so we've got a power hour on the last Wednesday of every month. So definitely go and take a look at that. We've got, so I guess 2.5 years worth, so over 100 power hours. They're free, they're on demand for your viewing pleasure. If there's something you're trying out or something that you want to check out, we've probably got a power hour on it. So you can go and get a nice demonstration, start to finish, walk through how that works. And the next one, please. And the TBC community page. This is our user forum. We are us Trimble folks. We're on there answering questions. So if you have something, you're not sure about something, go to the community page, create an account, throw a question up on the Trimble Business Center group, or I believe there's Business Center HCE. So yeah, go in there, ask a question, and another user or one of us Trimble folks will help you out. Remember to search before though, because we've been looking at this, or we've been managing this for a little while now. It's growing, it's starting to pick up, and it's becoming a really, really valuable resource for information about how to learn and what things do and how to solve problems. Next one, please. And the TBC macros. This is TML. It's not the Terra model. I'm showing my age here. There's the Terra model TMLs, which are big hit and allowed people to kind of take care of hours of work in just minutes in their own company. So we now have that in TBC as well. The language is Iron Python. I'm not an Iron Python guy, but some people out there are. Some people can learn it very easily and quickly. But we also have a list of developers on the TBC macros and extensions page. So if you have an idea, there's somebody there who is willing and very capable of being able to create that for you. So if you want to, or if you have an idea for one, we have a list of people that you can get a hold of to have that done for you. And TBC Retrieve. This is on the construction side, civil engineering construction. The TBC and Business Center Heavy Civil Edition are now one, which means that we get that our geospatial customers now get to kind of benefit from the TBC Retrieve platform. This is put together by Mike Harris. He has done an excellent job. There's free titles and there's paid titles. The paid titles are an hour or 2 hours long and go through every detail about a specific workflow. So it's like a full training session in a video. The videos are downloadable as well. So if you're traveling or if you've got 10 minutes here, 10 minutes there to kind of really top up on your learning of TBC, it's a really great way to do that. Next, please. And then how do you get TBC? Well, we've got this cool little dealer locator. Well, it's not little, it's pretty big actually. It's half the web page on this window. But it's this cool dealer locator to be able to find your nearest dealer, your contact information. They can give you a free 30-day demo license. So you can try it out, see if you like it, see if it does what you need it to do. And if you need any help figuring out if it does what you need it to do, we have the community page, we have YouTube, we have very knowledgeable people at our dealers. They can help you out. So go take a look at the link, download TBC, give it a try, and if you like it, if you don't like it, we would love to hear from you. Next, please. And then our next TBC Power Hour will be on the 4th Wednesday. Is that 4th? Yeah, that's the 4th Wednesday of April. Same time, same place, online. Pretty cool, hey? It will be combining TX8 and SX10 data in TBC for doing street topo and structural facades. We have our hosts, Arnaud and Yannick. Arnaud is a very smart guy. He works in one of our European offices I just know that when I need things done that are kind of complicated, he's the guy I ask. And then we have Yannick from GeoVal. So yeah, great. Register for that and we will see you then. Next, please. Thank you everybody for coming in and tuning in. We really appreciate it. Thank you for supporting us here at TBC. We've had fun. Ben, anything to add?
Nope, I think I'm good. I appreciate it. I appreciate everybody listening. I appreciate being a member of this.
Awesome. Thank you, everybody. Have a great day. Have a good evening. Have a good night. I hope you sleep well tonight. That's kind of a weird thing to say, but I still do. All right. Goodbye, everybody.